name is Kim, and I'm from Canada. And I have two children, and I experienced prolapse symptoms after my first child. And it worsened a little bit after my second child. And over the years, I mean, it's been now almost 7 years since I first had my first child. And over the years, I've experienced prolapse symptoms, which have been very uncomfortable and really interfered with my life in many ways. The 12-week program with Filippa one-on-one. When I first signed up for the program, I had been experiencing heaviness and bulging in my vagina, and it was very uncomfortable, and I felt very limited in terms of what I could do. Even just walking was very uncomfortable for me, especially when I would have to pick up heavy things, including my kids. That would be very uncomfortable, and I would notice that would make the symptoms worse. And so it really just impacted my daily life, and I just noticed that it had an impact on my mood because I was so concerned about the symptoms, and just feeling so upset, and a lack of understanding about why it was happening and if there was really anything I was going to be able to do to help. In terms of my mood, I definitely realized, especially after working with Filippa, because a lot of the work involves emotional processing. And I have really realized there was a lot of shame involved. Why is this happening to me? Did I not do enough Kegels? And so I'm doing something wrong, and just really feeling a lot of shame about my body, and just the lack of information that was out there really contributed to that as well. Just feeling kind of very alone in it. And so one of the best things about working with Filippa was that she normalized it and helped me understand what was going on. And that was really helpful. Started the program, I would have rated my symptoms at, I would say, a 7 out of 10. There were some days that were not as bad as others, and then other days where I was noticing it all the time. Today, I would rate my symptoms at some days a 1, other days a 3, but honestly, it's been a few weeks since I've even felt a 3. And so I'm hopeful that I'm on the right track, and just continuing with the methods that I'm finding helpful, it won't be a problem for me anymore. I have ups and downs. Like there'll be like a week where it's good, and then a week where it's not good, and then it's really discouraging. But it's now been a few weeks, and I think the scar tissue massage has been really helpful. I realized that something wasn't right after birth. Wheeled to a different room in a wheelchair. And I remember my midwife saying, "Oh, we can walk to the other room." And I said, "I can't walk. That feels like something's wrong, but it'll probably go away within a few days or a few weeks. I just gave birth." But it didn't. And it kept prolonging. And I said, something's just not right. And then I remember I saw a physio, and she actually came to my house and did an exam and said, "You have a prolapse." And I didn't know what that was. And just that word seemed just really terrible. And I didn't get a lot of information from her about what that was or what it meant or what I could do about it. And it almost seemed like there wasn't anything. From then on, it was a lot of talk about Kegels and strengthening your pelvic floor. And it just, that really wasn't what I needed. And it wasn't until I did the program with Filippa that I realized it's not about strengthening the pelvic floor. It's about kind of bringing things back into place. And even just understanding that really changed my perspective and was just such a helpful shift. So the fact that everyone recommends Kegels, I mean, physiotherapists, doctors, midwives, online community, it's all about Kegels. And after having done Kegels for so many months and not seeing any progress, it's very frustrating. And it's just really unfortunate and really sad. And because there's so much information out there that could help people other than Kegels, but it's just not out there as much. So I think, it's so great that this program exists, because for so many people, it's not Kegels, and it's all these other things that they need. So I've seen a few physios. Before I found this program, I saw a few different physios, and we did do some scar tissue massage because I did have some scar tissue from tearing. A little bit. It was a very little tear that I had, and so I had some scar tissue there, and they were able to show me that I did have scar tissue there, and they showed me how to do the massage. So I did learn some of this stuff already, and I actually did resolve that piece of scar tissue that was just sort of on the outer part of my vagina. But I didn't know that I had all this scar tissue inside my vagina. They didn't really tell me that, and so I could have been doing the scar tissue massage a lot more in different areas, but I just didn't know that it was so extensive, and the impact that scar tissue can really have. That was never told to me. I signed up for the No Kegels program because I felt like I had tried everything that I could, and my symptoms really hadn't improved much since birth, which had been 6 years prior. And so I was just willing to try anything at this point. I actually found the program because I had searched up diastasis recti on YouTube to find some exercises that were safe, because that's another issue that I've also been dealing with. And an ad popped up about this No Kegels program, and I watched it. And I normally don't watch ads to the end, but it really piqued my attention. And so I watched the whole thing, and I was like, this is exactly what I need. And so I signed up, and it was such a great decision because Filippa was so understanding. She had experienced something very similar herself, and had been able to resolve her issues. And she just has a very supportive, kind of kind way about her. And it's a really helpful program if you're experiencing prolapse symptoms. I started feeling improvements from the program after a few weeks, some slight improvements. I noticed that, working on my posture was something that was really helpful for me, and even that made a big difference. Just being aware of my body and how I was holding myself. And then certain breathing exercises were really helpful at the beginning. The scar tissue massage took a little bit longer to notice the results, but I would say that by the end of the program, so by 10 or 11 weeks, I really started to notice a big difference. Having the one-to-one support, and so Filippa being accessible over WhatsApp or email or voice chatting. And so whenever I had questions, or I wasn't sure about something, or I wanted to ask about a symptom, I could just get in touch with her. So that was really helpful. Another highlight of the program was understanding prolapse in a different way than I have understood it before, in a way that really made sense and really helped me to understand my symptoms better. And another highlight of the program was having access to other experts in the field through the Women's Cycles website, and being able to learn different methods through there in a really comprehensive kind of way. My favorite method was the scar tissue massage. I think that has been the most helpful to me. And it's also just really empowering that, I've been practicing it on my own, and so I haven't had to go seek out a physiotherapist to do it for me. And so it's really nice that, Filippa just says, you can do it. And at first I wasn't so sure, but, practicing it on my own and really getting the hang of it and seeing that I'm getting results from it is a really nice thing. Understanding what prolapse is, there's this misconception that, you have a weak pelvic floor and everything is sort of dropping. And there's a lot of shame in that, and it's not accurate. And so part of what was really helpful with the program was understanding that there was kind of a shift in your body, where because of the scar tissue, it's kind of pulling everything into a certain place. So it's like a pulling rather than a dropping. And that just made so much more sense. And I wish that information was out there more for people to understand. I would definitely recommend this program to any woman who is struggling with prolapse symptoms. It is going to make such a huge difference for you if you really, do all of the methods that are being recommended and really have an open mind and just be patient to see results. I highly recommend it. I just say thank you. Like, I didn't realize how much of an impact it had on my mood, but now that I don't have the symptoms as much, I notice that I just feel kind of freer and just a little bit, more like myself than I did before.